Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today, I continue to bring you the next episode of the story about Tu Tien and Jack. The story continues to revolve around the lives of Tu Tien and Jack, but this time, everything seems to carry a very different tone, gentler, deeper, and more special than ever before. After a long journey filled with so many challenges, moments of hope followed by worry, the two of them have finally reached what they had always longed for. Tu Tien is now pregnant after undergoing IVF, and she has entered her third month of pregnancy, a milestone that may not seem long, but holds incredibly important meaning for both of them. That period is not just a passage of time, but a collection of moments carefully cherished and protected like the most precious gift. After everything they have been through, this joy is no longer something taken for granted, but something they deeply treasure. Every glance, every word, every small action in their daily life seems to slow down, becoming more careful, as if even the smallest mistake could bring worry. Because of that, their daily routines have naturally changed. No longer the carefree days of before, now every action is thoughtfully considered. Tu Tien no longer overworks herself, no longer rushes like she used to, while Jack seems to pay attention to every smallest detail around her at all times. However, behind those peaceful moments, Jack is silently facing a pressure that is anything but small. He discovers that the land his mother and Ms. Thursday had invested in has suddenly been placed under industrial zoning planning. What seemed like just a matter of paperwork now brings a series of consequences. That land can no longer be transferred as originally planned, the money invested is almost entirely tied up, and any compensation would not be enough to recover what was lost. Not only that, in order to make that investment, his mother had mortgaged the land title, a decision that now becomes a heavier burden than ever. Numbers, documents, financial worries slowly surface in Jack's mind, making him increasingly troubled. But what matters most is that he chooses to keep all of that to himself. Jack does not speak about it. He does not share it. He does not let anyone worry alongside him. He does not want his mother to feel more sadness when learning about the current situation. And even more, he does not want Tu Tien, the woman carrying their child, to have to think or worry too much. To him, at this moment, what matters most is not money or what has been lost, but the peace of his family, the calmness of the one he loves. That is why he continues to act as if everything is normal. He still smiles, still cares, still stays by Tu Tien's side as if nothing has happened. Returning to their everyday moments, their life continues in a simple yet warm way. In the morning, when the sunlight is still soft, Jack takes Tu Tien outside to practice riding a bicycle. It is not something particularly extraordinary, but it becomes a way for them to enjoy peaceful time together. Because she is still in the early months of pregnancy, Tu Tien remains quite cautious. Every movement, every pedal stroke carries a bit of hesitation, sometimes even a trace of worry. But beside her, Jack patiently guides her, always staying close behind to ensure she will not encounter any danger. He carefully prepares a helmet, gently adjusts the strap for her, checking every small detail before she begins. His reminders are never rushed, but slow and gentle, as if even speaking a little louder might startle her. Those small actions, though seemingly ordinary, carry a deep sense of care. Without needing grand words, it is these simple things that clearly show the love Jack has for Tu Tien. After practicing, he does not let her rush back home to work. Instead, he takes her out for breakfast, choosing light, easy-to-eat dishes suitable for her current condition. He wants her to rest more, to maintain the best possible health during this important stage. Even so, Tu Tien still keeps her hardworking habits. For her, being able to work, to create value with her own hands, even something small, brings a very special feeling. After breakfast, she still plans to go to the nearby field to harvest squash and bring it to the market to sell. That is not just work, but a part of her life she has long been familiar with. The squash she harvests from her own garden, the sweat she puts into caring for them, all of it makes her cherish every result she achieves. When she arrives at the familiar small market, the image of Tu Tien with a basket of squash in her hands, a gentle smile, and her warm way of talking to people around her creates a very familiar atmosphere. There is no rush, no overwhelming noise, just simple conversations, greetings, and caring glances. Even while pregnant, she continues to work within her limits. She does not push herself too hard, avoids heavy tasks, and always remembers the advice Jack has repeated many times. And it is that balance, between taking care of her health and maintaining her usual rhythm, that makes her life feel lighter. Everything continues in such a simple way. But behind that peaceful surface, unspoken things still quietly exist, waiting for the moment when they will slowly reveal themselves. There are moments, in the familiar space of the small market, when Tu Tien no longer rushes to sell everything and leave like before. Instead, she takes more time to sit with the older vendors. She listens to their stories, simple things like how to grow vegetables so they thrive, how to choose the right time to harvest for a better price, and everyday stories about life. Their words are not instructive or rigid, but flow naturally, gently, making her feel a quiet sense of calm within. In those conversations, there is both joy and hardship. Some speak of good harvest seasons, others of failed crops, of difficult days trying to make ends meet. But what leaves the deepest impression on Tu Tien is not the struggle or the success, but the way they see life, calm, gentle, and always holding on to optimism. Sitting among them, she begins to feel that life is not as heavy as she sometimes thought, but instead becomes warmer and more familiar. Perhaps it is those very moments that help Tu Tien truly understand the value of the simple things around her. There is no need for anything grand or distant, just a peaceful morning, a sincere conversation, or simply slowing down a little, is enough to make the heart feel lighter. When her basket of squash is nearly empty, with only a few left, Tu Tien doesn't rush to leave. She stays a bit longer in her familiar corner of the market. Gently, she picks through vegetables, arranging them neatly to bring home. Her movements are slow and careful, as if every small task carries its own quiet meaning. In her mind, meals don't need to be elaborate or expensive. What matters most is the feeling of preparing them herself. Familiar ingredients, simple dishes cooked with care and affection always carry a deeper meaning. It is not just a meal, it is her way of caring for Jack, her way of preserving the peace in their life together. She thinks of the moment when they sit together at the table. The space may be simple, but it is filled with warmth. Small conversations about the day, gentle questions, and quiet exchanges, all of it brings her a unique kind of happiness, one that is not loud or showy, but deeply real. Meanwhile, somewhere else, after leaving the house, Jack returns to his work. On the surface, everything appears normal. He continues working, discussing matters, maintaining his usual rhythm. But deep inside, thoughts about that piece of land continue to surface in his mind. Numbers, possible scenarios, potential solutions, all intertwine, making it difficult for him to focus as he once did. The pressure is not something visible, yet it is always there, quietly weighing on his thoughts little by little. Even so, Jack does not let it show on the outside. He reminds himself to stay calm, to find solutions step by step instead of letting everything become more complicated. To him, what matters is not how much he worries, but how he manages to overcome this phase. He understands very clearly that from this moment on, his life is no longer the same. He is no longer living just for himself, no longer able to make decisions based purely on emotions or convenience. Every thought, every action now carries a greater responsibility toward his family, toward Tu Tien, and toward the child growing day by day inside her. That realization does not allow him to hesitate. Even though many things ahead remain uncertain, even though the pressure is still present, he keeps telling himself to try harder, to stand stronger. Because behind him is not only what he carries, but also everything he wants to protect. And within that silence, a quiet determination continues, day by day, step by step, just like the way both of them are carefully preserving the peaceful life they have worked so hard to build. The story does not simply stop at the difficulties or challenges they are facing, but goes deeper. It is a long journey of love, of responsibility, and of the choices each of them quietly makes for the other. Amid the busyness of life, amid worries that have yet to be spoken aloud, Jack and Tu Tien still hold on to a shared anchor, that is each other. They do not need grand promises or anything overly showy. Their bond is reflected in the smallest everyday actions. It is in the way Jack quietly stands behind, worrying about everything without wanting Tu Tien to carry that burden. It is in the way Tu Tien continues to maintain her familiar rhythm, carefully preparing each meal, tending to every little detail to bring warmth to their home. They may not talk much about the future, but in everything they do, that future is already clearly present. A future not built on grand gestures, but on the simple things they nurture together each day. Amid the pressures that still remain, amid worries that cannot yet be resolved, they choose to hold each other's hands and keep moving forward. No one lets go, no one steps back. Instead, each of them tries in their own way to keep their life from being shaken. And within those seemingly ordinary days, something is quietly growing, not only the small life inside Tu Tien, but also hope, motivation, and the reason for both of them to become stronger each day. A future filled with the laughter of a child is no longer just a wish, but something they are steadily moving toward. That laughter may still lie ahead, but even the thought of it is enough to bring warmth to the heart. A complete home is not something distant, but something that is gradually taking shape through the most ordinary moments. In simple meals, in mornings they begin together, in quiet time sitting side by side without needing to say much. And happiness is not measured by material things or grand achievements, but created from the smallest details. From care, from understanding, from the way they always think of each other before themselves. All of these things, piece by piece, are connecting, forming a journey that is not perfect, but real. A journey where, even with unnamed difficulties, even with an uncertain future ahead, as long as they remain by each other's side, everything can still continue. And from this very point, a new path is slowly unfolding, where love is no longer just a feeling, but something stronger, something enduring, nurtured over time, through everything they have gone through together, and through all the quiet efforts they make for each other every single day.
Xin chào mọi người đã quay trở lại với kênh của mình nhé. Hôm nay thì mình đang làm video tiếp theo về câu chuyện của Tử Tiên và Dốc. Mọi người thân mến, thì Tử Tiên và Dốc cũng đã trải qua rất là nhiều khó khăn cũng như là thử thách. Trước đó thì họ đã từng mang thai một lần nhưng mà do một tai nạn thì đã mất. Và lần này đã làm IVF lại để có thể có con, thì cả hai đều rất hy vọng và mong chờ em bé này. Và trong khoảng thời gian Tử Tiên mang thai thì Dốc cũng luôn ở bên chăm sóc và yêu thương cô. Ngoài ra thì mẹ nội cũng bên cạnh chăm sóc và yêu thương cô nữa. Vậy thì liệu mọi chuyện tiếp theo sẽ như thế nào? Cả hai có thể trọn vẹn thuận lợi trong quá trình mang thai để sinh ra một em bé khỏe mạnh khôi ngô hay không? Thì hãy đón xem video ở tập sau mọi người nhé. Cảm ơn mọi người rất nhiều vì đã theo dõi video của mình. Tạm biệt mọi người.